Hello team and welcome back to the channel. So recently I did a poll on YouTube asking you if I should make a troubleshooting video on corporate projects. Okay, so almost 100% of you have voted yes. So here is the video and I would request you to watch this video till end so that you can know all the issues I faced and how did I fix them. Okay, in this video that is what I am going to show you. I will explain you what kind of issues on general occur in corporate projects while building and deployment of those applications and how do we fix them. Okay, also if you want to know complete detail about fixing those issues, I will just mention everything in the video also, so you can just search them on Google and you will find detailed instructions, step-by-step instructions how to fix those issues. Okay, so that you can do if you want. Okay, also if you are new on the channel, make sure to subscribe. It takes a lot of time to plan and make videos on for YouTube, so I'm just making it for you. And I really hope that this video gives you a really useful information about the most commonly occurring issues. Okay, basically this video will be compilation of top 10 most commonly occurring issues, okay, while building and deployment of applications. Okay, so that's it and let's get started. Okay team, so starting with Jenkins. Okay, so in Jenkins, one of the most common issues that occur is slowness issue. Okay, so I have seen several engagements in my previous project where they were provided with the Jenkins platform, and while running their jobs, several of them were there who used to face slowness issue where their pipeline gets stuck or it goes running for few hours. Okay, so generally from my side, what I used to do, we had Grafana also for monitoring purpose. So what I used to do, I will use Grafana to monitor the Jenkins pod while running a job. Okay, so in that I was able to see if the memory of Jenkins was completely up or not. For example, if I was able to see the slave on which the job was running, so the memory of that slave, I was able to see that it occupied 100% every time the job was starting. Okay, so it was clear key this issue is related to memory. So how I used to fix is add some more memory. Okay, if by default it is 4 GB, I used to add 2 more GB, 1 or 2 more GB to the slave and then try to monitor the job. In most cases this would fix the issue, but in some other cases even this would not fix issue. Okay, so in some other cases what I used to do, there is a parameters known as JVM parameters, okay, which has two values, XMX and XMS, okay, which is initial and the maximum memory, which we can assign manually. This much memory should be used from starting to the maximum amount. Okay, so using those things also we would be able to fix the slowness issue. So the slowness issue of Jenkins while running running the Jenkins pipelines, I used to fix using either by adding memory or by using the JVM parameters XMX and XMS value, which is initial memory and maximum memory. Okay, so this was one of the most common issue that I faced with Jenkins. Okay, now let's see the second one. Another most common issue that I have faced, and I think you also might have faced, is the authentication issue. Okay, so with Jenkins we integrate multiple tools. With Jenkins we integrate Git, Nexus, even Docker. Okay, so for pushing artifacts to Nexus, it would give authorization issue, which is either 401 or 403. Okay, so in that case what I used to do, I used to check the credentials. Okay, so in case of Nexus, where we can check, basically we can either check the settings.xml file or directly we can go to configuration files inside Jenkins. Okay, so either of the places we used to check if the credential is added or not from Jenkins to Nexus. Okay, so basically if user and password is added, then it would definitely work. If not, then it will give the unauthorization or the authentication issue. Okay, second issue that I faced similar issue with was Git. Okay, so at this point if you try to clone Git, a private Git repository, into your Jenkins, so you basically what you need to, you cannot simply provide username and password basically. Okay, what you need to do is provide username and a PAT, which is personal access token. So you need to generate a token inside GitHub and that you need to use as a password. Okay, so that is very commonly occurring because still many of the people do not know that they don't need to use the password. Instead they need to use the PAT, okay, a token. Okay, so similar kind of issue I faced with Docker also. Even we can simply build the image, but when it comes to pushing the image to a Docker repository, we need to provide the credentials. Okay, So if credential is wrong, again it will fail because it will give unauthorization issue. So whenever you are working with Git, Nexus, Docker or any other such tool which require credential, make sure to double check the credential manager in your Jenkins to see if you have like added it correctly or not. Okay, so that is a general thing, like credential issue can be fixed by checking the username password. Okay, but since I just wanted to mention because this is one of the most common issues that occur. Okay, now coming to applications that are deployed inside Kubernetes. Okay, so if you might already know this, the applications inside Kubernetes are deployed in the form of pods. Okay, pods is like abstraction of containers. Okay, so usually what happens, like if application is not able to run, the pod is not able to be created. Okay, so in that case what we used to do, the general error that occurs in Kubernetes, application is not able to run, is that you will see the error in log is Crashloop BackOff error. Okay, it is known as Crashloop BackOff error. So to fix it or to understand the issue, because the thing is ki this Crashloop BackOff error, this may occur because of many reasons. Okay, so you won't know until the exact reason why it is occurring until you check the logs. Okay, so the moment you open the pod logs, if it is visible to you, then you will see what exactly is the error. Okay, now I will explain you different kinds of errors that may cause the Crashloop BackOff error and how you can fix them. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so for Crashloop BackOff error, let's take the example of Jenkins, because in my case it happened a lot of times. Okay, so even my Jenkins was deployed on Kubernetes and was being managed by Kubernetes itself. Okay, so by default what happens, like whenever issue occurs in pod, Kubernetes try to either like restart it or redeploy it. Okay, so but in case of Crashloop BackOff error, even that does not work, and that requires some manual effort. So in that case what me and my team used to do is check the logs. So in most common cases in case of Jenkins, what was the issue? Like like inside Jenkins there exist multiple plugins. So inside Jenkins there was a plugin which has two different versions. Okay, it might be because of someone manual error, or because automatically you might have taken like two versions of the same plugin. So to fix it, simply what I did, I just removed the lower version of the plugin from backend. Okay, and then restarted Jenkins. Once the one version was removed and Jenkins was restarted, the issue was fixed and Jenkins was able to up and run properly. Okay, so this was one of the issues that I faced for which Crashloop BackOff error occurred. Okay, so let me tell you another issue. Another reason for Crashloop BackOff error may be due to different configuration settings. Like sometimes you have not properly configured the secrets or the ports. If you are like using the same port for multiple places, it will cause problem and eventually it will cause the Crashloop BackOff error. So in reality, like this Crashloop BackOff error, this may happen due to several reasons, but you will get to know the reason only when you see the logs. Okay, and sometimes even the logs may not be visible. Okay, in case of like I used to work with OpenShift, which is like similar to Kubernetes, but it is managed by Red Hat and it's a paid version. So in case of OpenShift, the thing is we were accessing pods from UI. Okay, so when like Crashloop BackOff error happens, then the pod gets restarted again and again, and you won't be able to see the logs directly from UI. So in that case, we need to go to backend, and there we need to access the pod and see the details there. Okay, so yeah, like Crashloop BackOff error may happen due to several reasons. Okay team, so next issue that I have faced is related to Kubernetes, but it basically comes because of Docker image. Okay, so you know that inside Kubernetes, when we are creating pods, we use Docker images to create the containers. Okay, or pods you can say. So basically what happens, like sometimes the Kubernetes is not able to fetch the Docker image, and because when the image is not fetched, it cannot create container or the pod. And because of that reason, the issue comes, that is image PullBack Off error. Okay, that means clearly the image is not able to be pulled. Okay, so that the main reason that it may happen is because of like the authentication problem. Okay, so let's say like we have defined the image name, but the image is existing on a repository that is private. Okay, and there is no way to pull it until you have the credentials. Okay, so usually for credential we use secrets, but if it is not like configured properly, then we may not be able to fetch the Docker image. Okay, So to fix it, obviously we need to like configure the credentials either in the pipeline or directly like using secrets. Okay, so either way it will be fixed, and main reason is the credentials. If you are able to configure credentials properly, then Docker image will be fetched and your container or the pod can be created. Okay, so basically like electricity is coming and going, and that is very irritating for me. Okay, so next issue that I have faced is Sonarqube issue. So basically, you know, like Sonarqube is used for code quality check and code coverage. In case you don't know what is code coverage, let me tell you. Like when we are running like test cases, so test cases like it tests the code, like we have written the conditions and all those things, and it will test the code. So code coverage, what it does basically, it tells you what percentage of code has been tested. Okay, and to get that detail, to get that information, basically we use a Jacoco, a third-party tool which is known as Jacoco. The problem with this code coverage is that several DevOps engineers are there who are not aware how to perform the code coverage and how to get the results. Okay, so basically we need to use a third-party tool which is known as Jacoco, and to use it, what you need to do if you are using a Java-based Maven project, so in the pom.xml file you need to add the details of Jacoco, and then only you run the Sonarqube analysis. Once you do that, then you will definitely get the code coverage results. Okay, so to fix it, definitely, like as I mentioned, you need to mention Jacoco details in your pom.xml file. Once you do, code coverage will be done. Another issue that is like very common, and that happens like almost in every single project that exists, okay, which is like this server internal server error or server error. Okay, that is, there is a specific code for it, error code, which is I think 501, 502 or 503. That happens like basically, like for example, let's say like you are using Sonarqube. Okay, so when you want to connect, you want to run Sonarqube analysis, it gives the 503 error, which is like internal server error. That means the server Sonarqube server itself is not up and running. Okay, so basically it may happen due to a lot of issues, like either deployment is not done properly, or if you are using Kubernetes, then your Sonarqube is not deployed properly. So there could be several reasons. Okay, so basically what I used to do, like the temporary or workaround fix for that, is simply we restart the server and check if the application is running or not. In most cases it used to fix. Okay, for example, like this similar issue used to happen with Nexus also, when we wanted to push the artifacts to Nexus. Okay, so in that case the issue will come internal server error, and we were not able to push the artifact to Nexus. So in that case, what I used to do is simply restart the Nexus server, and that used to fix. Basically, sometimes what happens now, because of some network issue also, this error can occur. Okay, so if this error is not like real error, then you can just restart the server and it will work fine. In case it is a real error, then again you need to go to Kubernetes, check the pods, check the logs of that application, and then only you will be able to find out what exactly is the issue. Okay, then only based on that log, you need to perform whatever task is required, like either add memory, restart, reboot, or any kind of things that you see in the logs. Okay, next is error that I actually didn't wanted to tell you, but it is one of the most commonly occurring error, so you should know. Okay, compilation error. And compilation error simply occurs because like some error is in the code, and that is the task of developer to fix this. Like they need to check the code and they need to fix it. Okay, so that is why, like for example, in Java applications we have this maven compile command, which will check if your code is having any compilation error or not. Okay, so that is a very simple error that may occur, but yeah, it's like since it's a very commonly occurring error, so I just wanted to include it also. Okay, so next, one of the most commonly occurring error is the not found error basically. So you know, like when we are running pipelines, we use different tools. For example, if you are having a Java project, we need to have like a Maven installed on our like slave machine wherever we are going to build the application. Okay, so in that case, like when we run the pipeline, it will give key Maven not found, or if you are running Python command, Python not found. These kind of issues may occur. Okay, so in that case, first thing that we need to do is check if the tool is actually existing or not. So for that, what we can do, we can run the basic commands like maven version, okay, to check if the maven is existing or not. If not, then we need to definitely install it. Okay, so if you are using Jenkins, like two ways you can install a tool. Either you can install its plugin and configure it, or else you can directly go to slave machine and install the like using package installer like sudo apt get install maven like that. Either of them it's fine. Okay, so this is also like not found error, in which case a tool or any anything that we are going to use in running the pipeline may not exist, and to fix it we basically need to check and install the tool directly on the slave machine where we are going to build or run our pipelines. Okay, next very common issue that occurs with Docker. So like for using Docker, we need to make sure that Docker is up and running, plus Docker is installed, plus a credential is provided to Docker for accessing like the images inside Docker repository. Okay, so when we are running the Jenkins pipeline or directly through Linux machine, we may get the error, different kinds of error. For example, we may get the error like permission denied. So permission denied when it comes in case when you are trying to like fetch your Docker image from Docker repository, that may happen, this permission denied may happen because the specific user which you are using to pull the image with may not have the access, okay, or may not have the permission to pull the image. Okay, so for that we need to basically provide the permission to that user. That is very easy. Okay, next that may this another error with Docker that may happen is like Docker daemon is not running. Okay, so this error you might see. So this is because Docker is installed but Docker is not up and running. Okay, so to fix it, simply we will go to Linux machine, we will start Docker and we will make it in a running status. Okay, so once it runs, then your issue will be fixed. Another issue that happens with Docker is the credentials matter. So when you are trying to pull the image, you need to make sure that credential is provided to Docker. Okay, so to make sure that it is there, you can either directly log in using the command docker login -u username -p password like that. Okay, so to make sure like Docker is accessible and it is up and running, you need to provide the credentials. Okay, so this issue happens with Docker. Okay, another issue that is very common while working with DevOps tools is that like DevOps is one of the aspect of DevOps is that it lets you integrate multiple tools together, right? For example, when we are using Jenkins, what we do, we integrate Jenkins with GitHub or GitLab, whatever which we are using, then with Sonarqube, then Nexus, then Docker, then Kubernestes, right? So in those cases, how do we connect other tools? How do we integrate? We basically need to have three things. Okay, first is the URL of that tool. Secondly, we need to have the credentials. Okay, credentials may be in the form of username, password, or in the form of token. Like for example, in case of Sonarqube, we use tokens. Okay, or in the form of like personal access token, that may also happen. And in case of Kubernetes type tools, we have the secrets. Okay, so these things we need to make sure that we have generated correctly with proper permissions, then only we will be able to integrate. Okay, so these I think 10 of the error or troubleshooting things I have mentioned to you, and I have explained to you how I used to fix. Okay, so see, these are some of these issues you might already know, but the thing is since these are like very commonly occurring, so I just wanted to let you know these were the issues that I have faced, and these are the ways I used to fix them. Okay, at some point, like after some days, I'll be making a part 2 of this video where I'll explain you more issues or errors that occurs with DevOps tools. Okay, also like these errors which I mentioned now, they happen on corporate level. In my project which I used to work in previous company, these are the kind of issues that even me or the engagement who are using those tools used to face. Okay, and me and my team used to connect and fix those issues. Okay, so see, like in interviews, basically they ask a lot of questions like what kind of issues you have faced. You can clearly mention these, and you can mention like the ways in which you have troubleshooted and fixed them. Okay, so that's it for today's video, and I hope this video was useful for you. In case it was, then make sure to give it a like. Also, if you are new on my channel, make sure to subscribe. So thanks for watching and have a nice day.